Welcome in, coaches. You guys are starting to drop in. That number is climbing quickly. The participants jumping in. We are so glad to have you with us. We have the dream team with the journey, the coach's journey here, and we're just so honored to have this opportunity to all connect together. Thank you, Jenn Perell. Thank you, Devine, for your masterful creation of this program. We're just so grateful for the opportunity to engage with all of you who are reaching so many humans across the planet right now with your respective coaching efforts. Many of you have very established practices and all of that with your clients, and we're excited to be a part of that community vicariously through this program and our connection with you here. So we're very pleased to have Jiji Nobel joining us. She's one of you, one of the coaches going through the program, and we'll get some perspective from Jiji as well. But we're going to jump into a little bit of overview. I'd like to begin with kind of where we're at in the world right now, and then we'll zoom into this course and perhaps to your experience, and look forward to hearing from you all as well as time goes on here. So from my perspective, the world is going through a very interesting contraction phase that obviously accelerated with the pandemic. But as we've come out of the pandemic, I see the opportunity to recognize that we are all going into a bit of a pressure cooker here at the beginning of 2022. The first quarter seemed to be an acceleration, if anything, to the contraction phase of our reality. And we saw the Ukraine war break out. We saw changes in socioeconomic structures across the world, where we see this acceleration of instability of the U.S. economy, which puts the entire globe in economic straits. We see this rapid inflation starting to set in after the $4 trillion that have been printed in the United States, that is inherently destabilizing to international markets. And this often, unfortunately, trickles down to the most vulnerable populations on the planet, which includes developing nations, obviously, but women and children seem to always get the brunt of any downturn of socioeconomics. And we see an explosion in poverty. We have some 300 million new homes in poverty across the world over the last 2 years. And suicide rates are accelerating in almost all of the sectors of labor, agriculture being among the most severely affected there, but also in some of the horrific environments of mining and oil and gas and a lot of the extractive technologies that have really defined the world that we live in. It is our behavior of extraction that has led to the society that we live within right now. And so as we start to think about why you might join a journey like you have, and why each of us have been compelled to bring our respective clients into the sphere of intrinsic health, it's less about the individual in the end and more about the human condition as a whole. And I'm inspired by each of you in that you have the fortitude to wade into the day, not only to that environment for your clients, but also for your own life. Right now, it takes an extra level of effort to get out of bed in the morning for many of us, to recommit to the path that we feel like is a positive forward momentum for ourselves and those around us. And so there's a temptation for surrender at this deep level of drive. And at moments, that surrender can be super powerful and part of our transmutation. But ultimately, it's going to take community for us to find our way back to stability. And a lot of the journey, both at the client level that you guys are witnessing out there, as well as at the coaches level, is really about extending the opportunity for reconnection. And for those of us that are in this space of imagining a different future than the one that we live in right now, there's an opportunity for us to take this surrender moment and create a blank slate. And I think we talk about this in journey in different directions, but I just want to invite all of us in this moment as we head into this hour together to really invite you to a blank slate moment. The only way in which we manifest dis-ease and discomfort and pain ultimately in the human condition is by our conditioned white knuckle hold on our belief of time. And I've seen this more and more clearly over these last few months in my life and in the life cycles of my companies and life cycles of innovations and inspirations. We go through these contraction phases, and in that contraction phase, there's a temptation to believe in failures and believe in disconnects that are symptomatic of some problem. when in fact nature does this all the time. Nature is always cycling up and down, and with the leaves of the trees, falling in the fall and exploding in that springtime. We see that pattern in each of you, and many of you may be in fall or winter-like condition right now, where you're straining to figure out where the life is going to come back on your branches. And some of you are exploding with life and blossoming all over the place, and you guys are the ones that give us that joy, Devine, of watching your moment that you're in right now. But whether you're in your winter or in your spring experience of your own soul, your own spirit, your own human body, we have an opportunity to eliminate that stranglehold on time and become timeless in our moment together here today. So to do that, I think we can just start with a little bit of meditation, as we do every week in Journey. If you guys want to close your eyes and just let your shoulders drop away from your ears, push your chest out a little bit to get away from that laptop shoulder problem that we all have. So stop looking down and look up over the horizon gently, as if there's a gentle rise ahead of you and you're looking up, straining just a bit of the neck, rising up just so you can see over that rise, see what's coming. Shoulders drop down, chest pushes out. Pull those shoulders back a little bit, squeeze those shoulder blades back together for a second and then release. Open up that chest a little bit more, get that heart open. Feel your face relax. Feel your eyeballs relax. And we can sit and realize that the future is coming over that horizon to us. It's something we have to chase. And that arrival of the future will be unblemished by the stressors, fears, perceived failures of the past if we can create a blank slate moment. And so whatever visual you want to bring to that, but perhaps one is to experience the cutting of the marionette puppet strings all around you, whatever's holding you in, whatever's trying to tie you down. Cut that loose. And then perhaps imagine huge white wall, canvas or wall or whatever you're in, and that comes in behind you. And you become the painting on that canvas as that backdrop behind you is lowered to your past. And you become this vibrant, animated piece of art on the front of that canvas. And you're now looking into the future that's coming at you as a fresh piece of art, as a fresh piece of expression of the divine. I've been utterly overwhelmed this week with the sense of the moment. I spent some time with my daughter in New York this weekend, and it's been a while since I've seen her, and watching a young woman in her early 20s coming into her own, defining herself. It was a human experience of seeing a new piece of art and realizing that she has cut many, many ties to me, and she has cut herself free of our identity as a dad and daughter, and she's become woman, and she is re-engaging in meeting me, learning who I am in the context of her being a free woman rather than a child, rather than being in that daughter role in my life. And I spent the 30 hours just with tears brimming in my eyes because I saw a human being with new eyes, and it was a human being that I loved deeply, and realized that the type of love I had for this person was steeped in my own codependencies and my own senses of self that I had embedded into this person. And to see her starting to put up a really healthy boundary event that says, I am me, I am not you, I am not you, I'm not part of you, I am. And that experience of watching a loved one redefine themselves in that space is an opportunity for each of you to look to the beloved within yourself. There's a complete identity within you that society, humanity has made an effort to split. And in that split, there's an egoic world that is trying to protect you. The split is a belief that you are abandoned by or disconnected from source. And it's super subconscious because a lot of us have deep spiritual practices and we go after our meditations and prayers and synagogues and churches, and we're going through our spiritual song and chant, and we spend time at fireside and we do all these things, and as an outward expression of our dedication and belief of the divine. But the work is ultimately done deep inside of us, and deep inside of us we have to create this experience of the hallowed ground, where we let go of the split mind, which is terrifying because it means that you're going to have to let go of everything that felt secure or safe, because the egoic world was designed for our safety and comfort. And so as you start to let go of that side, your protected egoic space, you let go of that so that you might have the opportunity to merge with your complete divine state, to let the marriage of the half minds come back together, the masculine and feminine completed within you, becoming your own beloved, and then look into the eyes of that human being, a human being complete in and of yourself. This is a journey that we're all on right now. Every human being on the planet is given the opportunity right now to find this inner beloved. This is much different than a practice of self-care or self-love. This is an effort towards completion. This is one of weaving inside of yourself energies of the divine. We can think of them masculine and feminine, but even that is reductionist. Even that has too much human connotation. There's ultimately a beautiful matrix of geometry of the divine as it defines our reality, and the structure of the vacuum space, and the structure of the fabric that builds a body, and the structure of the fabric that builds a star. Zoom inside, magnify, bring it up 100x. Zoom in again, bring it up 100x. Zoom in again, bring it up again. Pixel by pixel, zoom in, look deeper. In there is a fabric that cannot be perturbed, cannot be torn, cannot carry trauma even. It's a fabric that is so coherent in its capacity to move energy through it, so coherent in its expression of beauty, that it cannot be scarred, damaged, destroyed by the human experience. Within you is the divine structure of the universe. It's what allows you to wake up every morning with a sense of self. And as we break down the protections of the egoic world and we start to dive into this completion of ourselves, we find ourselves in a state of newness. We're going to see the trees differently. We'll hear the call of the birds differently in the mornings. Water flowing over your skin in the shower, or as you dive into a pond, will feel different. You'll experience the natural world around you with a much more vivid texture as you come to completion in yourself. Wake it up, wake it up. One of the most powerful things I've heard this year is that something that you guys may have heard through different channels, but I happened to hear it through the Course in Miracles, and it says that in our split mind, at our highest expression of our split mind selves, we become perfect mirrors to each other. And I think that's what we tend to do as coaches and physicians and practitioners. We try to rise up to our most altruistic and our highest state of being, and then we try to be a great mirror to those around us. But the Course in Miracles says something deeper. It says when you complete the mind, if you resolve the split mind, get rid of the egoic shell, when you look at it, when another looks at you, they won't see themselves, but they will see you. You will go from being a mirror to being a witness when you resolve this. So I want you to think about that as you complete the journey together and as individuals, and as you start to apply these tools to those that you call clients or patients or whatever it is that you would define your relationship with those individuals that are coming into your presence. Challenge you to be a witness instead of a mirror, because ultimately looking at yourself in a mirror can be really disconcerting. The human mind tends to put all kinds of projections on that face in the mirror. I can project a lot of sense of scarcity of time. I can see my face aging. I can see the worry lines of my own sense of failures in my life. I can see much of the physical traumas that are evidenced in the scars on my face. But if I look past the mirror and see a witness to me, and I can see their eyes brimming with tears because of the beauty they see in me, that's a different experience. So we have an opportunity as we dive into journey together, journey of life together, beyond this 8 weeks. As we dive into the journey of life, I would challenge each of you to reach out to this community. There's 44 of you on right now. Angelic number, I love that. 44 of you on right now. Reach out to somebody in this community of 44 and connect and be witness to. To be witness, you're going to have to complete yourself. You're going to have to get rid of the egoic shell, or else you'll be the mirror. But a mirror is a good start. And so if this is where we begin and we start to mirror each other, we will make progress. We will ultimately encourage one another down the path towards our completion. But if you can work to find that fabric of yourself, destroying the reductionist human constructs of male, female, masculine, feminine, old, young, boss, employee, coach, client, if we break down all those boundaries and just become a completed being within ourselves, the gravitational force of that geometry is exactly what we've been talking about in Journey. And each time that we consider the fabric of nature and we realize the scale and scope of the gravitational pull, the absolute mass of the vibration of the electromagnetic field in the vacuum, we have to be in awe of the fact that with that much density within us and around us, we can shape our reality. We can draw to us exactly what we need in our next journey, the next chapter of our journey. Each of you are the center of the universe you manifest, but it's time for us, I think, to let go of the intention boards and the Pinterest boards or whatever we're creating as kind of a human visualization of our future. And we need to start with a spirit of receiving. Are we willing to receive the future that would allow for the ultimate expression of humanity? Instead of trying to micromanage that journey, instead of trying to cling to hopes of what that journey might look like, can we let go of all that? Can we shake all that off? Can we stride forward with an expectation of receipt? We will receive, we will be gifted the future that all of you feel within you when you're in your highest moments of silence. It's that peaceful moment. It's that time when there's no sense of striving or drive, and there's just a sense of landing, a sense of home, a sense of the smell of the earth. What a moon we had this weekend. What a moon we had this weekend. What an eclipse we had this weekend. You are here at the tipping point of all things. And the journey that you're taking as an individual as well as a group is creating an energetic pathway. Together we are pathfinders for the future humanity. And for all of the necessity of creating that new canvas to allow our lives to be painted upon that disrupts the continuity of the past into our epigenetic reality today, it does not mean we are alone. That ancestral line behind us and the future ancestors before us can stand in witness to us, no longer needing to be a mirror to us, but can actually stand and witness, and we may be actually able to perceive them than just different iterations of ourselves. I am honoring your journey. I'm honoring this moment in my sense of stillness, in my sense of awareness. Thank you for all working to see me by becoming a more complete version of yourself. Thank you for seeing your clients rather than mirrors to you. As providers, as patient providers, as client providers, there's a danger that we develop a codependent system of interaction with our customers. I've had a very emotional last 6 weeks in regards to that. I closed my clinics for the first time in 30 years. I don't have a clinic to have a sense of self-identity. That's a primary as a medical doctor. Nobody's walking into a clinic anymore to see me to help them rise past some perceived threat to their health or disease. And in closing that clinic, I realized something amazing. I thought it was going to be this emotional journey for my patients that have been with me for 10, 15 years, who had gone through extraordinary healing journeys in our clinics. And I thought that, boy, this is going to be like the rug pulled out from under them. They're going to be afraid of being without me. And it was absolutely the opposite, which was such an overwhelmingly humbling journey, in that all of those patients, by and large, especially the ones that had gone on the most extreme healing journeys, and I would have thought were the ones that most valued my presence, were cheering, absolutely championing the opportunity for me to let go of them, move to my next phase, whatever that is. And so to hear them cheering with no hesitation and expressing love for me in the departure as much as they had in the arrival in the clinics, it made me realize that I was the one with the codependent spikes out into those clients, out into those patients. I had been looking at the mirror in them to find myself and give myself a sense of self-identity or self-worth. And that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that I used other people who were in extremely vulnerable, desperate moments of their lives to be mirrors back to me to give me my own self-worth, my belief of my self-worth. And so I invite you all to shake all of that off. We need to shake it off and come to the point where we recognize that we are not coaches or physicians. We are humans, and we, in that humanity, can complete the divine within us, and we can then become witness to those that would journey alongside of us. And so it's a great honor to be with you. It's a great honor to be improving my capacity to see you instead of myself. I look forward to your reflections as you listen through the next steps that we might be on together. But as we go through logistics, we go through reflections on Jiji's journey and how that's been, as we go through thought process of what this next chapter together might look like, I don't want you to lose track of how you feel right now. It doesn't matter how you feel. It just matters that you feel. So acknowledge the discomfort parts, acknowledge the comfort parts, the welling up of truth or hope within you, the welling up of awareness at the soul level that this is what you've been striving for your whole life, is to become complete, to become whole, to continue to clean up your reaction to the environment so that you become a witness rather than a reactive agent. Feel into all that. I see the beauty in each of you whenever I meet you, whenever I see you around. I've met a couple of you in the recent months out on the road. Somebody will run into me. I'm in your coach's journey. It's amazing to meet you face to face. It's amazing to get hugs from each of you that I've met. It's amazing to experience the shared weariness that's in each of us and the shared experience of new energy rising, new hope rising. And we have to hold on to the one without letting go of the other. We can feel all of that at once. Our constitution is plenty wide in its bandwidth to feel it all. To feel all of it, to feel all of it, to feel all of it. Push past the barriers of comfort and the barriers of convenience, push into the ripples along the sides of the riverbanks, the torrent around the rocks in the middle of the stream. Push past all of that back into your through line. Kayakers and other people that sport in whitewater use the term through line. And when they start approaching a class 5 rapids, they learn how to see the through line, the curving, twisting path that goes between all of the obstacles. And they see it not as a series of obstacles, but instead as a complete flow state on that current that twists and turns. And as long as they're watching the current of the flow state of the through line, they make it through unscathed. But if they focus in on those obstructions and the fears around them of perceived failures or whatever it is, they tend to fall off that through line immediately and get tangled up in the obstructions. So let's remind each other to stay focused on the through line. Your soul knows the through line of your life. No matter how many traumas, fears, distractions, failures have come your way, there's a through line there that is a complete flow state of the water that runs through your state of being. It's a daily practice to stay on your through line. Just keep your eyes on it. To keep your trust in the soul of knowing that path for you. Grateful to be with all of you. Turn it over to Jenn Perell to give us a little bit of sense of logistics here and a sense of structures that we will continue to flow through. And we'll turn to Jiji as well to get some perspective there. We'll wrap with Jenn Devine, and I'll close us out with some thoughts from Esty and the rest of the administrative team here at the Journey. And we will make sure that we've done our best to give you the next footholds in your future. Honored to be with you.
Thank you, Zach. Welcome everyone that's here. I'll give you a second to come back into current time and space. Okay, so where to begin? I want to tell everyone that this call is about not only the journey of intrinsic health, as you all are aware, is to dive more into the coach's journey and tell you about the two programs, what the differences are, and answer any questions that you might have about the coach's journey in case you're interested in joining us for the next cohort. So the journey of intrinsic health, which you may or may not know everything about, but I'll just give you some background, is this 8-week personal health transformation journey that Zach and the team have put together with 8 points of intrinsic health. We cover B, which is the I am state, which is what we were all just in, who we came here to be. Flow, which Zach talks about so eloquently and so often, which are the effects of water throughout your system, and true hydration in our bodies and the world at large. Wow, I just got big. Hey. Fuel, the metabolic power of nutrition. Breathe, so the power of breath and how we accelerate our biology with our respiration, and the mirror of that in the world as well as the earth breathes. And all of it, we're flashing back and forth between micro and macro, and then we go into move. So turning on our regenerative capacity at the cellular level, to rest, all aspects of rest. We include a fast during this part if you're interested. And then play, and yeah, we learn if we need to how to play beyond competition and into creativity and possibility and fun. And the 8th week is all about connect, which Zach highlighted so beautifully right at the beginning about coming into true community and healthy connection. And so with the journey of intrinsic health, which is what I've just been highlighting, you get access to education through the platform, which are these 8 points that we have recorded that Zach leads you through all of those pillars. And then you have coaching. So there's an option for one-on-one coaching and group coaching. We call the one-on-one ultimate, and the group immersion, and then community, where this platform of people where we all come together and there's weekly conversations and all of that. So that's the journey of intrinsic health. Now, what we're here to talk to you about today is the coach's journey, where you get all of that, but instead of going through it in 8 weeks, you go through it in 16 weeks. So we're together for 4 months, and you're with people who are all already coaches. We always get the question, do I have to be a certified coach to apply? You do not have to be, and certified coaches are given priority to a certain extent. But if you have coaching experience, and when we read your applications, we determine that, then you're absolutely still welcome. So you don't necessarily have to be certified. However, if you are, you can get continuing education credits by going through this course. So it's a 16-week course, and you have access to all of the educational content and information that we suggested before. We meet once a week for 2 hours. The current cohort is scheduled to graduate on June 1st. And the next cohort will begin in August. So you would get access to the content in the middle of July. And we start on August 2nd with graduation November 22nd. So right before Thanksgiving, giving lots to be thankful for. We meet every Tuesday from 12 to 2 Pacific time. And all of these details will be in the follow-up email, as well as this conversation will be recorded and you'll have access to listen to this again. So I'm just giving you details to answer any questions that might come up, but you will have access to these details as well in the recording and in writing. What else do I want you to know? We also cover the 3 tenets of the journey. I am a miracle, I'm healthy, I'm knowingness and love. And what happens if you go through the course? So anyone who goes through the coach's journey of intrinsic health will be certified in the 8-point journey, assuming you come to all the classes. And if you can't, we have ways to get around that as far as filling out forms and whatnot. And then if for anyone who is interested in potentially ever being a coach for the journey of intrinsic health, you have to have been through the coach's journey. So you need to be certified in the 8 points in order to potentially be a coach for us, but not everyone that goes through is hired. And then if you are contracted to work with the journey, then you're a journey of intrinsic health coach. So that's kind of the big picture aspects of the coach's journey. So we meet once a week starting in August for 4 months. And the point of the coach's journey is to learn and to continue growing your coaching practice. So if you're already a coach or a practitioner and are interested in expanding your practice, this is a really great way to do that. If you are not a coach and you're just like, but I just want more than just the journey of intrinsic health, then I would encourage you to look at the journey and to dive into all of the different avenues on the journey that there are, as far as there's a book club and there's weekly meetings and there's different ways to engage with the community. But this is super great if you have a practice or if you're already a coach or if you want to expand your coaching practice in any way. So if it sounds at all complicated, I just want you to know it just sounds that way on the front end. And when you're in it, it's not. We have a fun time together. And I think this is probably a good time to invite Jiji to talk about your experience, if you'd like, Jiji, and unless anyone pops any questions up, but I don't see any questions in here just yet. And if anyone if there are questions and I'm not seeing them, if anyone on the admin team can just send them to me, then I'll do that. And otherwise, let's let Jiji share about her experience going through Coach's Journey.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for starting us also. Thank you for having me here. It was such a pleasure being invited into the coaching journey program. And my intention in joining was for evolution and transformation. And I'm sad to see that we're at the end of the first round, and it was just such a beautiful experience seeing Zach's teachings in the recorded videos, our 8 points of the modules, and also to augment that. It was also so beautiful how it was organized, the coaching part in particular, Jenn and Scott also. It was so beautiful to go through that structure. So I was able to go through the micro and the macro that Zach always puts us through. And then as a coach, the structure that Jenn and Jenn had us go through, it was really very insightful. I'm a very academic person, so when I saw finally that Zach's world opened up for coaches, I was so excited. And when I came into this world, I intended that I was going to submit myself for transformation. Of course, I learned the skills of a coach. Of course, I learned the knowledge of the science of it and the amazing poetic nature that Zach brings us through. But really, truly, my intention was evolution and transformation, and going from B, which is the first module, and this afternoon, Connect, and everything in between is just so beautiful. And there's a lot of goosebump moments. And those are, I think, are the 2 points that hold everything in balance, in tension and balance of transformation. So I felt with the module for the first module of remembering who I am, and also how I show up in relation to myself and others also. And then I'm so excited for our class this afternoon for Connect, because the most important thing that I was super excited to join Coaching Journey was this community. More than any other community out there, I was super excited to be among fellow human beings on this journey, and also with the micro and macro touch points that Zach's universe has created for us. So that has been my journey. I know it must sound too vague, but if there are specific questions, I'm super happy to answer it.
Thank you, Jiji. I'll give people a chance to ask you specific questions. I'm going to answer a couple of the ones that have come up while you were speaking. So to answer Monica's question, she asked if there will be an interview as part of the application process. We go over just the written applications, but they're pretty thorough as far as we feel like we have a good chance to get to know you through those applications. As far as if you're not a coach but interested in coaching, this program is probably not the place to start. We work with people who are already coaches, and we do have a list of recommended coaching programs. And if you can write to coaching@thejourneyofintrinsichealth.com, then I can send you that list. So I believe it's coaching, and an admin will add it at the bottom to put where to put those questions. As far as how many participants do you anticipate being part of the next cohort? There'll probably be 32 people in the next cohort. What I forgot to say at the beginning is every week we meet as our large cohort, so that group of 32, and every other week you meet in a small group of 8. And what that does is it gives us time in between sessions. You're doing a lot of practice. So you do one-on-one peer-to-peer coaching. So you're partnered with someone throughout the 4 months that you're doing your one-on-one coaching with, and you're partnered with that small cohort. And during the 8 weeks, you teach to that group at least once, and you get feedback. So you get feedback from your group, your small group of 8, you get feedback from your one-on-one coaching, you get feedback from a facilitator during your time. So you're getting a lot of feedback. And so this is where I feel like this program really stands apart from other coaching programs that I've seen. You're getting individual one-on-one feedback, group facilitation feedback, and at least from what I've seen and heard from our people, like really pushing your growing edge. And I think that having been a coach for quite some time, it's a pretty unusual field, and that you don't really get that kind of one-on-one feedback on a regular basis. And so I think that's one of the benefits of this program. As far as not being available during those times, you might just need to wait for the next cohort. You can miss up to 2 of the large group and up to 2 of the small group, and do fill out the miss session form, which means watching the videos and then giving feedback, but you can't miss them all. So if that time just doesn't work, then Garrett, we hope you can join us for the next one. And as far as, how many participants, 32, the price of the program is available online, and there's going to be a slide at the end of this call that's going to show the prices and the specific dates. So I'm going to let the slide describe that one, because I just don't have the number in front of me at the moment. And the meeting time is 12 p.m. Pacific, not Eastern. Jen put in the address. Thank you. You're in the course on module 3, not a coach. Yes, you guide people. So wonderful. Thank you, Emma. I think we've actually seen your application, so I'm glad to see you're here on the call. And if you have any questions, let us know. No, yoga teachers aren't exactly coaches. There is some breath work in the program. There isn't yoga specific in the program. And I would say, depending on what your particular practice is, I do understand that there are physical trainers, yogis, dentists. There are people who have a natural tendency to coach in our lives. And so, like, if you feel like you're a coach and you don't have a coaching certification, we're interested in hearing from you. And there is something different about being coach specific and trained in coaching that, we're wanting to be very clear that this is coaching that's happening. It's not consulting. So a lot of people will come into the program with medical questions. And one of the main things, which is evident in the name itself, this is a journey of intrinsic health. So it's learning how to go within to find your wellness. We're not here to cure disease. We're coming from a place of health and wellness and finding that within. And so it takes some discernment and some skill to get right there. And coaching, we found, has the best effect for that. Yes, the days and times are already set. We've already spoken to that, and you can rewind, or it'll be on the follow-up email. Examples of the ways that coaches who are not hired to apply what they learn to their own practice. Yes, so once you've gone through the content, if you're not hired, the reason why we're teaching this content is because we want there to be more healthy people in the world and the world to be a better place. So we encourage you to share what you learn. And you won't be able to put people through the program because the platform is specific to the journey of intrinsic health, or use, the written content that we've created, but we do want you to share what you learn. So everything that you learn. And I also want to be clear that all of the coaches that have gone through the program, while this content is absolutely made to be shared, are having a personal experience. And that's what we really desire for all of you, is not only to, be learning and expanding for everybody else out there, but to have an experience for yourself. And so I think that ideally you're able to intrinsically feel that for your own self, and then share what you learn from a very personal place with your practice. So that's, my hope for how you're able to share that. But yes, as far as protocols and whatnot, as long as you're sharing back and that you've learned that in the journey, that a credit to Zach Bush, MD, then we encourage you to share that and help everybody. The list that I referred to before, if you're on this call, then you'll be getting the follow-up email with the recording, and we'll share the details with the times and prices on that email. I think I answered all the questions. Jen, can you fill in anything I may have missed, or do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Of course. Thank you, Jen. So just noticing from some of the questions that are in there. So this is a continuing education course for coaches. So it's not a coach training where you would be trained in the basics of coaching. We're hoping that you come in with those skills already. And a lot of coaches are certified with the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, or the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaches. And we are a continuing education course for those who are certified in the ICF. You would get your 40 credits, which you need to get recertified every 2 to 3 years. And we're also working on that accreditation with the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. So if you come in with certification from either of those, you can use this program as your continuing education to be recertified. And that doesn't mean that you do have to be certified. So we welcome all types of coaches coming in. But when Jen and I were putting this program together, we thought, this is what we're really looking for, is coaches to be able to get the content that we can apply to ourselves personally and also to our clients, and to be able to come through that in the one-to-one and group coaching, which we haven't really seen in many other programs. And many of us in this space are solopreneurs, right? So we're often in that space just kind of on our own. So we really wanted to create a community where you could consistently and over time, you have access to this coaches journey community as well as the journey of intrinsic health community for a year. So you get to stay in contact with the coaches that you've gotten to know over the 4 months, as well as the community in the journey, so that you can create those personal and professional relationships that you may not have outside in your coaching in your personal practice. And so you're getting the feedback from your peers, from your facilitators, in your one-on-one and your group. And I have to say, it has been such a beautiful experience to see the growth that has happened for the coaches in these past 4 months. It has just blown me away that for all of us, there's that journey of transformation as an individual, personally, and also professionally, and how we kind of can shift into how we are as coaches, especially in this space of intrinsic health that Zach lays as the foundation. And so that's really what this space is all about, to connect at every level, internally with ourselves, externally with other coaches, and also with our clients in the larger community.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, so as far as how much time can we expect to have with Zach, Zach has recorded all of the content that you'll be watching, and then he is in the community every 2 months, he does a call similar to this one, a roundtable or one per cohort basically, and those are happening every 2 months. And on the final call for the coach's journey, he comes on to answer any outline questions. So Jiji, you have that one coming up soon here. We have our last pillar today, as Jiji mentioned a moment ago, connect. So getting close on the end of our current cohort. As far as the next cohort, Garrett, I saw that question. That will begin most likely in January. Actually, I do have that date, 2023, not in November, February 1st. 2023 is the next cohort. So that's the winter spring. That one goes February 1st through May 24th. Right now, those are the dates. Please don't mark them in gold, but pretty sure that's where we're going next. And then as far as retreats and nature program, I'm glad you're looking forward to that. These coaches are going through the coaching program. You will be invited to attend those retreats. This is not the people that will be leading that part of the leadership program. A lot of the leadership program comes from the clinic, but you will absolutely be invited to attend. And I think that about answers. Oh, can I speak to how much of the content is from GRH or unique in addition? So yes, I can. Okay, remember how I mentioned that we're meeting every other week with the big group or the small group. During that 2-hour large group, we review. So you're reviewing the content 3 different ways. So you get the content within the big group, practicing on group immersion and practicing one-on-one, but all of the time that you're spending together is based on specifically learning how to coach more than just the content. So you dive into the content really thoroughly because you literally review it 3 different times, 3 different ways with different people. And though the work and time spent together is more based on coaching. So we review the core curriculum for, as Jen mentioned, the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, as well as moving into the National Board of Health and Wellness. So we cover both the content and coaching information. And it looks like those are answers to questions. Thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Jiji. Yeah, Jiji, do you want to speak to the live feedback feature? Because I think it might be helpful for people to hear. And
yeah, for sure. I'd love to. So the structure is really, really beautiful. I have appreciated having structure, a container, and Jenn and Scott holds us so beautifully in their hands. And so it creates the space to flow and learn and transform and evolve. It's just so beautiful. So the structure is 1 week we meet as a whole group, which is the big group. And Jenn and Scott usually hold those, facilitate those. And then the second one, and then the next week we have, we're divided into smaller groups, and then we each week we're assigned the module to teach facilitate the group. And then right after we facilitate, or the coach student facilitates, the head coach would be Jenn or Scott, would be giving us live feedback I just did mine last week, and it's so amazing. These coaches are so full of heart and wisdom and also structure. So it's not all highfalutin things. It's really specific things that you can improve on, and it's with deep insight. So for me, it's really leapfrog growth, and just the engagement. I think that covers it. As far as that. Oh yes, and also we also are paired up in a buddy system. So there's one-on-one, and my buddy, who's my coach at 1 week, and the other coach, I'm the client the next week. We coach each other, and we have formed a really beautiful bond, of course, as colleagues, but also outside of that as friends, really dear friends. And we give each other feedback also. So the feedback you get is not superficial, because we get to know each other also, not just the content, but each other as human beings and as coaches. And so it's really amazing. I've not seen anything like it.
That's one of the sweetest things I've seen in it, is the relationships that are formed. I mean, obviously learning and expanding is awesome as well, but a few of the coaches have already met up in person. And so people find each other, and that's not just in Coach's Journey and Journey of Intrinsic Health as well, but people find each other that are nearby and are, what some of them called in the other day from the farm where they were meeting up. And yeah, it's pretty great to see everybody connecting and holding their own. You can hold your own events within our platform. So some people, have done a breathing thing for the group. Right now, I think they're putting together laughter yoga. So they're putting together their own things as ways, because they just can't get enough. So it's fun like that. To answer your question, the content of JOH, it's similar to Biology Base Camp, but it's different. It's the next evolution for sure. If you've been through Biology Base Camp, we have people that have been through Biology Base Camp and said now that they've gone through Journey of Intrinsic Health, they learned a completely new way of being. So it is similar content and it's completely different. And for those of you that have been through, there's two questions here, one for Journey of Intrinsic Health and one for Biology Base Camp. To be clear, for those of you that are like, what's Biology Base Camp? The Intrinsic Health series was sort of the first evolution of this program, the Journey of Intrinsic Health. So this program has been in existence for almost 5 years. And if you've been through either of those and you're interested in doing the Coach's Journey, there is an additional discount. So if you just want to email in with that, if you are applying, you can email the email that they put up above and find out about that additional discount. And yes, it looks like the other things I'm seeing here are answers to questions. Zach, do you have anything that you think we should be adding to this that we've missed?
I appreciate all the questions that have come through. I hope you're feeling the opportunity there for you, but we also just celebrate where you're at, and your curiosity back towards our group is always appreciated. And I think that I would encourage you to lean into your north node there, like, when you lean into yourself and just feel that path forward, there's going to be that through line that we were talking about at the beginning that you can feel into. And if we're part of your journey, you will see us in the through line. And I think the doors will open up unexpectedly if you feel like there's barriers towards entry, whether it be your time, your commitments, sense of whether is your profession, isn't your profession. All those perceived things are kind of the rocks in the stream. And so lean into that through line. And if you zip past us in your kayak, give a wave and a hello and a love, and we'll send it right back to you. We appreciate your path in life and understand that this isn't necessarily part of everybody's through line, but we are overjoyed when it does fit into somebody's life, because it enriches the human experience for each of us. I know that the vortex around me gets richer with every cohort that goes through. We create an energetic space together by spinning the same knowledge and experience and electron densities through our bodies and minds together. We create much more capacity for that transmutation. And if we have a purpose here right now, it must include the transmutation of pain into joy, and the transmutation of duty into love, and the transmutation of I think hopelessness and disconnect into that connected state of being and that completion of the whole. So if that feels like an opportunity for you and you're feeling into this experience with us and feel that tingle of anticipation that brought Jiji in, would love to have you guys with us. But Jiji, do you want to talk a little bit about that experience of leaning in, hearing about it, wondering if it was for you, all of that, and some of the experience you've had as you got zipped into the current there?
Very happily spinning in the vortex. I actually got to know about Zach's work from a friend through Kiss the Ground. We were in the same program together, and I reached out for anybody who was a functional medicine health coach. And Kristen, who's in our program now, told me about Zach's work. And the first time I read about it, I heard Zach speak, I binged on everything. And then I found out that, they do have health coaches that work with their patients in the clinic. So I wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. I don't know how many times I wrote that application, even if it's just an inquiry. And so I have been like yeah, I was that far away from the vortex and just totally leaning in. And so I'm very happy to be here. And I just love the love that you wrap everyone here with.
It's a divine state of being, and so that's the current we're talking about flowing in. And so we're excited for each of you to consider this opportunity. I think we got some logistics slides to wrap it up if nobody has any other input at the moment. But Jiji, we're thrilled to have you part of our family. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the time you've provided today and giving us perspective, and being part of this with us has made our life richer. And so
I'll just answer one more question before that slide pops up. As you do not have to have gone through the journey of intrinsic health to join the coach's journey. You sort of go through the program while you're going through the training. So if you have, you're going through it again, you're getting that content again. And if you have not, it's no problem. This is the program for you. Sorry, carry on.
I think we're good to wrap. So thank you for your time, all you jumping on. I appreciate your interest, and you can reach out to our team. That email was coaching@journeyofintrinsichealth.com, and we've got a great group. Thank you, Jenn and Jiji, for joining us here. And if we've got any further questions, there's on the screen, the coaching@journeyofintrinsichealth.com, and we'll go from there. And we are eager to be on your journey. And the applications are due before May 25th, so jump in. You've only got less than a week left now to get those completed and join us on the journey.
Mm-hmm.
The key dates here are listed. We've got the Wednesday, May 25th, as that discount ending. Applications look like actually due the following 2 weeks later on June 8th there.
If I could clarify that, if they apply by the 25th, then they're eligible for the early bird discount, and you still can apply by June 8th, but you wouldn't be eligible for the early bird discount. So given that you're on this call and you know about it, if I were you, I would apply by May 25th. Sorry.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you'll start getting access to the information there on that July 19th date, and that gives you a couple weeks to prep for the beginning of the program that runs the 16 weeks starting August 2nd there, ending November 22nd, right before the holidays begin. And the next cohort, as mentioned, is targeted for February 1st, 2023, if you can't make this next one. So eager to be with all of you, and peace on your journey as it goes. Thank you, SD and the rest of the admin team. Thank you, Marlene, for building out our incredible community connection environment. Thank you, Jenn and Jenn, for your extraordinary efforts to create such a successful program. Jiji, Godspeed, and the impact that you're having in your community.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you.
Zach. And if you've already applied, then you're all set. We will be letting you know by June 18th, whether you or not you've been accepted into the program. So those of you that have put in your applications, you're good to go. And those of you that haven't, you have the link now to do that.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks all.